What's up, fellas? Welcome back to another episode of Survymon with Survey. So, in the last video, we had quite a milestone after a lot of struggles. Let me get this in the right spot so I can see it. Where you can plug in any size room and you can crash into the walls. Hooray! Alright, but we found that it was kind of wonky the way we did it before. Oh, and I just want to apologize this video is coming out so late. I had work again, but here we are. So I want everything to be redefined for the coordinate system here. So if we look, let's just kind of go through. There's nothing wrong with base script. We want everything to be bottom. So luckily there's no... don't think... oh. So here we have top. We can have this be top, but let's see. If we want to make div maker like this, let's just kind of copy this here and say div maker game, because this is gonna want to be bottom, and then we'll just say dot bottom equals bottom. Alright, and that just means that everything in the vertical direction is going to be from the bottom up instead of from the top down. Does that make sense? The game is still a top-down game because, you know, it's an overhead view. But I think that's fine. It's just now whenever we have make div maker, yeah, for like a player here. This is a game one. Oop. And I think it'll still work if at the bottom is 45, still in the middle. I think. So we also have to pull. I'm not actually using div maker anymore. Same with the background. Except now the top is 0, or the bottom is 0 instead of the top being 100. Correct? Does that make sense? Think so. Well, we'll see if this works out. We'll do our little bug fix thing. So, try and move. We're gonna have to kind of change around our coordinate system here. I think this is all still true. It's just, yeah. So when we update the player, now instead of the top, it should be the bottom is this minus 45, right? Hopefully all this works out. This is all still fine. Map setup. Oh, here we go. So the bottom now. Okay, we'll have div maker game. Wait, did we change that properly here? Yeah, that's fine. So we gotta import this guy, the game one, and then right here we have, instead of 100 minus, and then the height, I think we just can use the Y. That's the whole point of it being on the bottom, right? Yeah. And then background image. So then when we make this room here, it's Y value of 40. I think that still works. Yeah. So we keep the Y value the same. We just redefine the way it displays based on bottom to uncomplicate things, you know. So I think stop bottom, edgeify is still fine. I think, wait. Hold on. No. The top, oh yeah, it's the Y plus the height now. The bottom is the Y, that was the whole point. Yeah, I think this is all fine. Alright, we have to save all these pages. Should have done that as we were going. But I think this will work. I'm definitely going to be wrong, but we'll see. If it doesn't work, I'll cut out before I, struggle too hard. Oh. Well, the room's gone. A bunch of errors. Errors will help No, wait, no. Errors will not help. Let's see if we can at least see where the elements went. Screen. Background. Room. Room's down there. Can we get to it without being blocked? Yeah. Where the heck is the room? Bottom is 40%. I mean, it's just not displaying right. Hello? Doesn't look like it has any size. We'd be able to see it by now. Alright, well, I'll tinker and figure out what I did wrong. And I'll meet you guys in a moment. Alright, well, I found one of the problems. Here, when I change this from 100 to 0, this is the height. And the 0, 0 here should still be true, actually. So, does that fix everything? Yeah, I think that was a pretty simple fix. We just want everything to be from the bottom when it's the game, so we don't have to mess with setting the top in case we have new features and stuff. Okay, so that pretty much deals with that. Now we can move on to adding objects into this room that we can collide with. Okay, and so the basic concept here is going to be the same as when we collide with the edge of the room, except now we need to collide with the edge of an object. So if we touch the edge of any object as we're rolling along here, we will crash. The only problem is here, the way we have this set is only for one room. We're going to have to adapt that because right now the whole edge function, at least for this room, it just defines if you hit an edge because you have to be inside the room. In other words, it only checks like if I wanted to hit this edge on the right here, and maybe showing you the code will make more sense for the physics here. But the way we check if you're on an edge is just checking if you're in between. It just checks if you line up with that edge horizontally, right? So technically, like, you're inside the room, so you have to be hitting the wall. But if you're checking like the edge of two objects and you're lined up horizontally, one object could be up here and be like this wide, and one object could be down here. But for a room, it's spanning the whole width. So, but if you want your objects to collide, not only have to be lined up like this, they have to be overlapping like this. Okay, and so this is actually what I'm looking at. Yeah, touching edges, and it's only checking if they're at the same spot here, right? So we're gonna have to add in an extra condition for all these guys, which is basically and it's gonna be based on the height. So a good thing we have the actual object here and then the modified edge version of the object. Basically we're gonna say if the original object dot y plus, and then it's going to be a range here. So yeah, we have this like it's less than 1, but let's just make a new function here for in between. Pretty simple logic function, and this can be internal. It doesn't have to export. Between, and it's going to be the low value, or I mean technically these could be negative, so if it's greater than 1, less than the other one, it would make sense. So we'll say low, middle, and high. We're checking. So if the middle is in the middle, right? If middle is greater than low, if also middle is less than high, and return true. But if it's just greater than both of them, return false. But then if it's not, then we'll kind of do the opposite here. Right, just in case they're kind of both negative and get switched around. So for between, if between, so what is it? How do you overlap here? Basically, let me think about this for a sec. Alright guys, so I'm going to log my thought process here on Paint. So we've got a couple different scenarios here. So let's put our objects down. And we got this scenario here. We got this scenario here. And then we got this one. And then we've got this guy. Yep. Alright, so case 1, the objects are going to collide. And you can imagine their edges are also touching, but we're just looking at the vertical here. The vertical condition. So this here is going to be y1. And this is h1. H1, and then this guy here is y2. And this here is h2. So same in every case. I'm not going to mark it up, but in this case they are going to collide. Also this case. In these two cases they're not going to collide. So what situation do we have? Where's the collision point? The collision point is right here at y2. Does that make sense? y2 determines whether they collide or not. So y2 needs to be less than h1 plus y1. Let me just write that out. Alright, so over here it's different because y1 plus h1 is less than y2. And so they don't collide. Okay? In this case though, let's mark this up just so you can see what's going on. We got y1 and h1 again. And then we got y2 and h2 again. Yep, terrible handwriting. But the difference now is that we have y2 plus h2 is less than, or no, is greater than, sorry, y1. Whereas in this case, it's less than y1. So what's the consensus here? Well, we got to split this. Oops. For the logic. And so this is less than now, y1. Okay, so the logic is split here. And the difference here is that y2 is greater than y1. And y1 is greater than y2 here. So we got two different cases. And then on this side we have does not collide. And then we have collides. Okay, take a screenshot of this. So we're going to program all this logic into our code. And I will go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the end just to save you guys a little bit of time. And I'll explain what I coded. Alright, so here's what we did. We split it into the two different scenarios here, and then this is really split into, you know, this means they collide, this means they didn't collide, so don't do anything, but we don't need to include that. But again, we just input what we had on our little diagram, that the sum of the height and the y have to be less for it to overlap. And if their y's are equal, obviously they'll collide, but I think this will cover that, because as long as they have any sort of height, it'll overcome if they're equal, right? It'll be greater than. So let's go ahead and apply this to well, let's see if this changes anything when we move upward before we install it into the game. Nope, we got good coverage now, because this is always going to apply when you're inside a room. You're always going to be within that range. I guess it's like, we call it a range, but the way it's a range is because it's split into two like this. It's, you know, it's only less than. We didn't actually use our between function, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, but anyway, we're going to copy this little code brick to all these guys. And we're gonna change a little bit of this logic. Oh wait, I realized this is actually for the left edge. So this is correct here when you're looking at a left edge or a right edge. The only problem is we should change this to 2. And then I think everything else remains the same. Oh, this is supposed to be Y actually, and object 1. Good catch. And then for these guys, we have to swap. Well, this should actually be X now for both. And let's make sure we grab the number 1 edge. Let's see. All these need to be X and width instead. But I think it's the same logic that we were talking about with the vertical. Just now checking the horizontal. That makes sense. Alright, now it's a 3. And I think we have to go X, width. And that should fix it. Or, you know, it's going to work the same while you're in a room. Yeah, so everything seems good here. No errors, right? Oh, other than our weird 4 errors that keep popping up before we refresh. Okay, so that works. Now we need to add a new object in. So under the map setup here, let's make class wall. Oops. Extends map object as well. And then we'll give it a, same thing. Actually, let's just copy, save ourselves some effort and time. And copy this line here. Except instead of a carpet, it's a, I guess, just sprite. So we need to add an obstacle. So let's go back to drawing to have a little bit of fun. Alright, let's pull up pixel art here. That's what we drew last time for the grass. Let's draw ourselves a little, just like a rock, I guess. So let's make a little potato shaped rock thing here. Not too bad. Alright, we'll clean it up. Oops. And I don't know, I don't need to go into speed drawing mode, do I? How you guys been? Let me just talk about you guys' day. It was Monday today. I had a case of the Mondays. I didn't upload this video at the right time for you guys, and I feel bad. So hopefully you guys weren't craving this content. The other day I made like a placeholder video and someone was roasting me for it not being good enough. So if I'm gonna make content, it's gonna be good. So let's throw down some rock texture. Just kind of random stuff. There. Speckle it out. Make this rock look all kinds of cool. I don't know how to draw a rock, you guys. Let's be real. Drawing's hard. It's not my strongest of suits when it comes to game dev. But it's what I spend most of the time on, I find, at the end of the day. So that's why, you know, I gotta hire myself a little outsourced, oops. See, look at that. A little outsourced artist if I ever make a real business out of game making. You don't want to have to be doing everything yourself, but when you're first starting out, it's kind of the only option. Let's go like a little bit of dark gray here for the edges. Give it some character and some life. What else do we want to do? Let's go even lighter, just a little bit. Ugh, can we get away with that? It's going to look weird. And then we'll kind of shade this again. Darker. Want to have like a bit of a gradient going. Finish off this rock the right way. Alright, cool. Look 3D enough. Let's actually make it lighter on the edge. And like a little bit lighter and like a little bit orangey, because I got that orange bit. Alright, just over here. Just to give it a little bit extra. Okay. That looks fine to me. In fact, we gotta probably reshade this. Ooh, perfectionism. There we go. That's fine. Yeah. This now is fine. This looks great. Alright. This rock is cool. We'll take it. We will download it. Oops. Sorry. Let's center it. And we'll download it as a PNG. And then I'll put it in my folder. Oops. Yep, let's leave this. Let's go images. Can we import directly? No, let me put it in the folder and I'll be right back. Alright, here it is. We got our pixel frame 09, blah, blah, blah. We're going to rename it to rock. Simple enough. And then we'll go back to game setup. Or I guess map setup here. We'll make our first wall. Let's kind of copy the structure of the rooms here. We'll make wall 0, 0 as a new wall. And this will be rock. And let's just make it 10 by 10 like me. But we'll put it at 45. Or I guess we'll do like 65, 45 since our room right now is so horizontal. Walls 0 is going to just be this wall. And now the map needs to have walls. So we will, wall 0. We will go ahead and replicate the room format again like this with a map class. Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. There we go. And then when we build our map, we will go through not only the rooms, but the walls as well. And we'll make them. This should be rooms. Map.rooms, not necessarily room 0. Does that make sense? I think, yeah, it worked before, but if we ever switch stuff around, it wouldn't have worked. So let's take the wall, put it here and here, oops, and here and here, and everything should work the same way. And here. And instead of this background image thing, we'll just use our regular imager function. Wall I. And it's going to be wall dot, what was it, sprite? Yeah, sprite. Okay. So now we've installed this rock onto the scene here. And, oh, my Chrome went away. Let me redisplay that. Oh, it's not working. Hold on. Sorry about that. That was weird. But, looks like we got an error. Oops. I coded something wrong. We had a little typo. Let's see what it is. Set properties of null. Imager. Let's see. Looks like it's right here. Oh. Voila. Wally. Voila. Oops. You guys can't. Could you see that? No. This was the problem. There's the problem, right? We still had room there instead of wall. Okay. Oh, there it is. Our cool looking rock. Problem is we walk right over it. We don't want this rock to be here and not have a wall. Okay? So what do we do? Well, before when we ran, let me show you. Before when we were running our controls around on our interval, or try moving all these directions, right? We're only checking the rooms if the edges line up, okay? So all we have to do, I think this should work. This is why this is why it was so stupid and complicated before, is to make it all nice and simple now, because I have experience making a few games like this over the years. Wall. Does that make sense? I have to do this for every different direction. Oh, we also need this line. Good to know. I think that's it. So let's go ahead and take, we'll copy it separately so we don't have to change the other stuff around. Not too big a deal. Copy the word wall would help. See how fast I can do this without making a mistake. Always make some mistakes, but it depends on how fast you can fix your mistakes by debugging, whether it's worth it to go fast coding. I don't think it ever is worth it to go fast. I think you should be careful, but I never do that. I'll never tend to do that. So I'm gonna probably miss something, and I'm not even gonna know about it until later, because it's still gonna work like in this moment, and then I'm gonna be like, what the heck is going on? I'll look at it later. So I'll double check, but the moment of truth coming soon. Oh, did I forget that in another one? No, almost forgot that. For loop one. Wall. Oh, why do we have a debug here? Oh, because it was the try move up one. Oops. Now that's a problem. Okay. Does this work? And where I'm gonna look stupid here. Oh, that looks stupid. Gonna crash into the rock. Oh, what the heck? Kind of worked. Now all my edges are lined up with it. It worked for one of the edges there. Oh. I guess there's something wrong with my logic. It only works once I'm inside the rock. Wait, what the heck? See, I'm inside it now, so my edges are lined up. Alright, I'll do some tinkering and debugging and see what the problem is for you guys. I totally see the problem here. The way we check an edge for a room is like right edge equals right edge, but here it should be right edge equals left edge. So we kind of need a whole new function. Plus we need to know which one's trying to move, because we need to know which one should be blocked on the right. You know, if it's a right plus a left, are you blocked going left or are you blocked going right? Okay, so it's not quite as simple as I thought. Let's go ahead and cheat here and copy this edges touching function. So actually, let's call this one edges touching. Edges touching. I almost want to call this one room, because it's so much less common at the end of the day. So, fortunately, I think it's just over here on interval that we actually check if edges are touching. So we just need to make this one room. Alright. So do we have any of the old ones left? Only 4? Okay. Good. I think that's the only place we use that, so it shouldn't be a problem. Now this one that's normal, that's not the room, needs to be kind of different. It's really, this one's the mover, and this one's it's an immovable object and a unstoppable force. So this one is the object, right? And so, unfortunately, we kind of have to swap all this stuff around. So I'll meet you guys back when I deal with that. Actually, we'll keep this as object 2 to simplify. But we'll change object one to mover, and I think we can do it fast without having to cut out the old-fashioned way with the Control H, find and replace. Object one, place it with mover. And we'll place them one at a time to make sure we're still in this function, but yeah, don't want to replace those ones, don't want to replace all. And now we gotta go back to interval before we redo this. And yes, the mover is the player position, so that should be fine. Oh, but it's the one dot left. If your left side is hitting the right side of them, not the left side. It's the opposite of a room. So this should be top, and this should be left, and this should be bottom. Okay. I would think this would work now. Oh. Why would there be a problem now? Oh, there's an error. That's good. It's just a typo, you guys. It's not a functional error. Just touching a room is not defined. Okay, we forgot to import. Forgot to import edges touching a room. That's all. It's all good, you guys. So, can we get it to work? No, we passed right over the rock. Oh, is it just lagging? It's just lagging? I'm confused. No, we can't go down. What the? Okay, we can't go down. Alright, hang on while I figure this out. Oh, we are having errors. Errors again. Errors are helpful. Edges touching. I might just cut this part out. That looks so stupid. Oh my god, you guys. What is this stupid ass error? Alright. I'm clearly too tired to be coding and need to go to bed, so please just work. No! No, I thought that would work. Alright, you guys. Once again, very simple and stupid fix that we need to do is that we don't need to see if you're inside the rock first. Maybe that's why we got stuck inside the rock before. So hang on while I take away this requirement of being inside of a wall from all the different directions. I hope these bugs are good lessons for you guys on how to fix your code. Figure this out because it wasn't even checking edges. It literally was like the edges touching function wasn't even running, and I'm like, oh, hang on, there's something wrong with something else. Yes. All right, we can't get around this wall. Let's make our room a little bit bigger, and we're gonna go to map setup for that. All right, let's make our room wider here. Make it like 50, 60. Just a little bit wider so we can get around that rock. Oh yeah, we gotta move it down a bit. So let's give it 20. Yep, still centered. All right. Yes, the rock is blocking our path. See, it shouldn't be complicated. There shouldn't be any errors. I think I set it up pretty good. All right. That's a wrap for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, looks like we got an issue. So close. I was trying to sign off. Almost got away with it. It's only trying to go up from this side, right? Yeah. Okay. So let me walk back and forth across the rock in all other quadrants. You go right and left here. Yeah, so it's only try move up has an issue. So it sounds like I did miss something specific. On edges touching. If the ob1 top is the bottom here. Oh, I think instead of changing this, I was supposed to change this. And I should fix it. Can I do it? Yay. So I can successfully navigate around the rock counterclockwise and clockwise. You know, it's a little wonky when I'm by the corner here. So you want your objects to be right up against the edge of the div that they're on. Maybe we'll even do like a little overflow on our images. Let's just add that just to make it look visually a little bit better. So it should be on our document setup on Imager here. Basically just have to make this like, we'll try 110. And then top equals -5 -5%. And left is -5%. Just to keep it centered. But to make it a little bit bigger. Oops. And looks like we have a display issue. Oh, none of our images popped up. Oh, there we go. We forgot the forgot this last quote here. All right. See, now we're getting a little close to that rock. Yeah, it's not quite close as I would like it. We'll make it just a little bit bigger. Just a little bit. Alright, there we go. Some overlap. I like it. I like it a lot. It's fine by me. The corners are still kind of rough, but hey, everything's a square in this universe. Everybody's a square. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, please, and leave a comment if you're confused about anything. Let me know, and subscribe to the channel to stick around for the next episode. Eventually, we're going to have Pokemon. Have a good day!